The creation of the world, from its earliest moments, has always been a theme shrouded in mystery and fascination. But what if I told you that what you know about the origin of the universe might be deeply connected to how the ancient Greeks observed the night sky? In a world where science and religion intertwined, creation myths were not just stories told for entertainment, but representations of a cosmic reality that the Greeks believed was written in the stars. It is astounding how the theogony, which details the birth of the gods, reflects the celestial interactions observed by these early astronomers. When we talk about the distance between the Earth and the Moon, or even the relationship between the Sun and the Earth, we are not merely exploring astronomical concepts, but also touching on beliefs that shaped entire civilizations. If you think all this sounds a bit distant from reality, prepare yourself for a surprising revelation. Greek mythology not only influenced how the ancients viewed the cosmos, but also left deep marks on our modern understanding of the universe. Let's uncover these secrets that have long been written in the sky. At the beginning of everything, there was no form, direction, or purpose. The universe was plunged into immense chaos, where everything coexisted in a state of complete disorder. Imagine, for a moment, a boiling pot where each drop of water represents a different element, without any order or harmony. It was in this whirlwind of possibilities that Gaia, the Earth Mother, emerged. She was not just the Earth itself, but the very embodiment of fertility, the first to shape what was previously formless. Think of her as the fertile soil that, after a storm, begins to show the first signs of life. Gaia, upon manifesting, became the foundation of all creation. And isn't it curious how, in many mythologies, the world begins with the Earth? Gaia was responsible for transforming chaos into something that could generate life, as if she organized all the elements around her. From her essence, the primordial deities arose, those that represented the most fundamental aspects of the universe. When we look at the origin of the world in mythologies, we realize that this maternal figure is almost always central, just as in Cherokee mythology, where the Earth also plays a vital role. It's intriguing to think that, even in a scenario of complete disorder, life found a way to emerge. Thus, Gaia laid the foundations for the emergence of the universe, creating a cycle that would repeat in the most diverse cultures. But how would this initial creation connect to the vast cosmos we know? Could it be just the beginning of a theogony, where other gods would start to take shape? The relationship between Gaia and the sky itself will soon reveal the next steps in this fascinating narrative. With Gaia established as Mother Earth, the next step in Greek theogony was the creation of Uranus, the starry sky. Gaia, in her vastness, felt the need for someone to share the universe she had begun to shape, and thus, she gave birth to Uranus, who became her consort. Imagine the infinite sky, ever present, embracing the Earth in a constant embrace. Together, Gaia and Uranus formed the first cosmic alliance. And from this union, extraordinary and terrifying beings came into the world, such as the Cenomanes, giants with 100 arms, and the Cyclopes, with a single eye. The union between Gaia and Uranus, however, was not marked by harmony alone. Despite being the progenitors of powerful deities, their relationship began to deteriorate. Uranus, fearing the power of his own offspring, imprisoned his children deep within the earth, causing immense suffering to Gaia. This act of tyranny bred resentment in Gaia, who began plotting a way to free her children and restore balance to the cosmos. This cycle of creation and conflict is something we see repeatedly in the mythologies of various cultures, where the desire for power often leads to disorder. The troubled relationship between Gaia and Uranus planted the seeds for future cosmic conflicts. Gaia's resentment would culminate in a revolt that would change the course of divine history. Thus, the story of the origin of the world in mythology is not just about creation, but also about the constant balance between opposing forces. The creation of the world is intimately linked to these cycles of conflict and renewal, and it is precisely this tension between the sky and the earth that will lead to the emergence of new gods and eventually to the fall of Uranus. But how will this challenge be faced, and who will take the lead in this conflict? The next step will reveal that answer. Gaia's resentment towards Uranus culminated in a bold and dangerous plan. She knew that to free her imprisoned children, she needed someone with the courage and strength to confront the very sky. It was then that Cronus, one of the Titans, emerged as the only one willing to take on this responsibility. Gaia, in her wisdom, handed him a sickle, a weapon forged from her own essence. With this tool, Cronus ambushed Uranus and, in an act of sheer determination, castrated his father, putting an end to his tyranny and freeing his brothers from their prison. This act by Cronus was not just a victory over Uranus, but also a pivotal moment in the history of the universe's creation. It marked the beginning of a new era, where the cycle of power began to repeat itself. It is interesting to note that, in many mythologies, the act of challenging paternal authority is seen as necessary for the evolution of the cosmos. In Cherokee mythology, for instance, there are stories of challenges to primordial forces as a means to bring balance to the world. Cronus' act, therefore, was not a simple strike, but a redefinition of cosmic order. However, Cronus' victory brought with it its own consequences. By defeating Uranus, Cronus not only freed his brothers, but also sowed fear in his own heart. He knew that the cycle of power could one day turn against him, just as he had turned against his father. Thus, the creation of the world and the origin of the universe in mythologies always seem to be linked to these cycles of rise and fall, where power is temporary, always at the mercy of the next generation. And it is precisely this prophecy, as we will soon see, that would haunt Cronus until the end of his days. After his victory over Uranus, Cronus took the throne as the new ruler of the universe, but the shadow of a troubling prophecy loomed over him. Gaia, in her infinite wisdom, foresaw that Cronus, like his father before him, would be overthrown by one of his own children. This forewarning became a constant source of paranoia for Cronus, who decided to take extreme measures to prevent his fate. With each birth, he devoured his children, attempting to prevent the prophecy from coming true. This act, though brutal, reveals the depth of the fear that Cronus harbored in his heart. Gaia's prophecy is not an isolated theme in Greek mythology, but rather a repetition of a pattern where the fear of the future drives the powerful to commit desperate acts. The theogony and the origin of the Greek gods are filled with stories where fate is inevitable, no matter how much one tries to escape it. It is as if, in the vast cosmos, the stars had already written the future of every god and mortal. Cronus, in his attempt to outsmart fate, was in fact only hastening the course of events. The creation of the world, in many cultures, reflects these internal struggles where power is constantly challenged. However, no matter how much Cronus tried, fate, an unstoppable and uncontrollable force, would follow its course. One of his children, hidden and raised in secret, would grow up to fulfill the prophecy and claim the throne. Thus, the origin of the world in mythology teaches us that the cycle of rise and fall is inevitable and that the fear of losing power can be the catalyst for one's own destruction. Cronus' story paves the way for a new generation of gods, those who will shape the course of the universe, leading us to question, to what extent is it possible to change one's own destiny? The journey through the origin of the world via Greek mythology and its connections with astronomy offers us a new perspective on how the ancients viewed the universe. But what does this really mean for you today? Are you willing to apply this knowledge, question established truths, and explore how the power of ancient stories can influence your current life? Imagine what it would be like to understand the cosmos with the same curiosity the Greeks had, connecting the past and present in a web of knowledge that few dare to explore. But don't stop here. If you truly wish to delve deeper into this wisdom, how about starting to observe the night sky with new eyes? Which constellations can you identify? How do the stories you know relate to what you see? These are the questions that can initiate a transformation in your way of thinking. After all, the universe is out there, waiting to be explored, and the answers may be closer than you imagine. So, if you want to continue this journey of learning, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. This way, you'll ensure that you never miss any updates on mythology, astronomy, and how these forces shape our view of the world. Are you ready to transform your life with this knowledge? I hope so. See you in the next episode.